From GC 90.7's Studio A on the campus of Gulf Coast State College, RAPLINE with Emily Blaze.
Well, it's estimated that at any given time, about 50% of U.S. adults are on some type of diet and trying to lose weight. And many of us spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on fad diets that in the end just don't work. Today, I'm going to tell you an incredible story. We're going to meet a local woman who has lost over 200 pounds the healthy way, and now she's helping others get healthy as well. Plus, her story has gained national attention, and she'll tell us all about the people that she's meeting across the U.S. and more. This is RAPLINE. I'm Emily Blaze. Thanks for joining us. And my guest today is Natasha Coleman, and you are Senior Health Educator with the Florida Department of Health and Lifestyle Coach for the National Diabetes Prevention Program.
Yes, that's a lot, isn't it?
I know. That's a long title. Your
is.
Card must be this long.
It is. The font is really small.
So, Natasha, you are from Panama City.
I am.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about you, where you grew up, and about this incredible story.
Well, I'm a local lady, local woman. I actually wasn't born here in Panama City, but I went to, all my school years were here. I've been married to my husband, David, for almost 18 years, and we have 3 children, 17-year-old Justin, and 11-year-old Jayana and Joshua. And I'm actually from the small town Old Millville area. So I'm very versed with the community, and I know a lot of people here in the community. I'm from the sales and marketing era of a cable company. So I know not only just from being here, I just know a lot of people from work and through business as well.
And so now you're at the Florida Department of Health in Bay County, the
Yes.
health department, and tell us what you're doing there.
Well, I've been there a little bit over 7 months, and I absolutely love it. It's a very fulfilling job. I'm a senior health educator, so I actually teach healthy lifestyle classes for people who are at risk for type 2 diabetes. So if they are told by their doctor that they have different risk factors, either being over 45, overweight, a family history, the doctor will then refer them to me, and then I will help them and mentor them through a 16-week healthy lifestyle class, which has 2 goals. The first goal is to lose 7% of the body weight through the 16 weeks, and the second goal is to get their physical activity up to 150 minutes per week.
And so what does that break down to each day?
Usually between 20 and 30 minutes.
So not that much.
Not much at all. Not much at all. And that's something that we want to gradually get them to by the end of the 16 weeks. So we know no one's just going to start off doing that.
Got to start out with baby steps.
Yes.
And what's incredible and so neat, I think, is that you yourself have probably been at risk for diabetes and actually have lived this, and so can speak from actual experience. Tell me about your incredible weight loss.
Well, my highest recorded medical weight was 438 pounds. I could not be weighed at my doctor's office. I actually had to go to the Florida Department of Health to be weighed because their scale went up to 500, and then they would fax my weight results over to my doctor's office. So I kind of had already developed a place with them, and I never guessed when I started this journey that I will now be working there full time. But when I started my journey, I was 438 pounds. That's the highest weight they were recorded. I think I was heavier, but the scales couldn't get that high. And I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm from the modeling, plus size pageant world, so it was never a thing about self-esteem. But I did know that I had small children, and I wanted to be a good example for them.
And so step one, how did you, when you made up your mind that I have to change my lifestyle and lose a little bit of weight, what was that first step? How did you begin that journey?
Well, it was very overwhelming. When my doctor told me, I talked to my doctor. My eureka moment was actually when I was chosen as a top performer in my company, and I was giving a first class seat in the plane that I could not fit into. So I had to come out of the plane, purchase a seat, and actually sit in the back of the plane. And that was just humiliating for me because I had never been picked at school. I had never been addressed head on with my weight. So for me having to still have a happy face and go on with this trip that was very disheartening to me. That was the first time I'd ever been, I could just see the faces of the people who I was kind of holding up from their plane trip. So when I got back, I told my doctor, I said, I really want to do something about my weight. Can you help me? What do I do? The first thing off the bat was for her to recommend for me to try bariatric surgery, gastric bypass surgery. And I said, well, let me try to do it on my own. I don't think I'm ready to make such a huge step with surgery. And she looked at me and she held my hand and she said, Natasha, you're so sweet, but you can't lose over 200 pounds by yourself. You're going to have surgery. So me, with my competitive edge, I knew that I was my own competition, and I stopped drinking soda. I stopped eating processed foods, and I stopped eating fried foods. I really tried to stop eating out altogether and just learning more about food. So that first month, I lost right at 42 pounds.
And so what does your activities look like now, physical activity?
Well, I started out walking just a very small walking part over at the Bay Fitness Park over near the health department. I can only walk about half of that, but now I usually try to go and walk the bridge. When I first started that journey, I could only go halfway up and come back down, but now I'm able to go over and back 2 or 3 times. I do stair climbing at one of the local retirement homes downtown, and I also do fitness, different aerobic classes as well. So I try not to only put it in a small box and only say that I can only exercise at a gym. I try to make it fun, to keep it interesting.
Right. And so does your family participate with you in any of this?
They do. My husband actually started me with weight loss because he used to play, college sports and high school sports and different things like that. That was never my thing. I never had been on a team, or endurance was very hard for me because I didn't exercise the first time until I was 30 years old. It was just nothing that I ever did. So we try to make it a point at least once a weekend to try to get out as a family and get out and do something physical, because I want my kids to also start adapting that in their life.
And now we said that your story has gone national, and you've been to many places, many different people. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my first interaction came when a teacher at my son's school had submitted my story to Steve Harvey's show. After that, Steve Harvey actually gave me a trip to Vegas that I used for my birthday, and I was actually there for the neighborhood awards, and that was life-changing. I had never been to Vegas before. After that, I was contacted by Marlo Thomas, that girl from the 70s, and I was highlighted in her book. The name of the book is It Ain't Over Till It's Over. It's a book about 60 inspirational women who have all did something different to change their life after the age of 35. And I barely made it into that book because I was the only 35-year-old. My story was story number 3, and also the only weight loss story. So after Marlo Thomas had contacted me, she put my story all over her website. I was contacted by several venues in different areas. I was then contacted by Katie Couric. I went on her show in June. I was in Essence magazine about being a curvy woman in the fitness industry. And I recently did a 3-page spread for The Good Life, Dr. Oz's new magazine, and that will be out March 2015.
And so this just kind of snowballed one thing after another. What's in the future for you?
I'm not sure yet. Right now, I kind of just want to focus on motivational speaking. I want to try to be a activist for the morbidly obese, to let them see that you can get to a healthier size without any bariatric surgery. It just takes time and dedication. I want to really focus on my job and do what I can here in my community before I start going on the national rampage of being a health activist. So I'm just focusing on work right now.
And so, that is so great. Now, everybody always has someone that they look up to, maybe want to emulate. Now, when you first started this weight loss journey, was there someone that you looked up to?
It was hard for me to find someone in my demographics, with my demographics as far as being married with children and being as far overweight as I was. Oprah is definitely one of my favorite people because even though she has lost weight and she's had her battle, she's always been very transparent and she's always kept her figure. She just wanted to be healthier. She's definitely one person that I really look up to. But I kind of wanted to be that person. I wanted to be the person that can give mothers who are 100, 200 pounds overweight that have children and a full-time job. I wanted to be that person that says, hey, she did it, I can do it too.
And I think you're absolutely doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on our show and talking about your story, because that's one of the things that we love to do here is put a focus on local people that are doing great things and helping others. So what does it feel like to be looked up to and to actually be an inspiration for people that are struggling?
It's still kind of hard for me to hear it, you know, because I still get kind of taken back when I hear people say that they look up to me or I'm an inspiration to them, because I know where I want to be and I'm my own worst critic. But I have to look back and I have to remember that I'm no longer 400 plus pounds. I'm no longer a size 34. I can now sit in a chair that has arms on it. I can walk more than 10 feet without getting out of breath. And there's some people who are wanting to be there. So even though I'm not where I want to be on my own physical journey, I know I'm no longer where I used to be. So if I can change one person's life and try to get them to stop before they become morbidly obese, or if they are morbidly obese, to show them that it's not a death sentence, that you can still live your life and still be happy.
So Natasha, let's take what does your day look like? As you mentioned, you're a working mom, you have 3 kids, a husband, a house to run, and you help others get healthy. What does your day look like?
My day can be very crazy, and to-do lists are is my best friend. I usually, we try not to eat out much at our home, and I also make my kids lunch. So every morning, usually the morning time is our only time that we can have a meal together. So I make it a point to make them a hot breakfast every morning. I pack their lunches. I drop everyone off at 3 different schools. I work a full-time job. I also help my mother-in-law, who's in a wheelchair, who is diabetic. So to be able to help her and be able to relate with the things that she's going through. And also still try to keep my own fitness journey, you know, fresh on my mind and make healthy food choices. It's tough. It's very hard. It can be very inconvenient, but I know that I'm worth it. And I know that the people at my house need me and they depend on me, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that I'm still here to take care of them.
So Natasha, what are some quick tips that you can give as far as food shopping? What are some things to steer clear of, and what are some things to gravitate towards?
Well, especially for the morbidly obese, I definitely try to make a real impact to show them the importance of not making it so big, to keep it simple. And when I say keep it simple, don't necessarily worry about homegrown beef or organic this and organic that. Those are still very good things to have. But when you're already 100, 200 pounds overweight, that can be very, very overwhelming. And that also makes them want to give up. So when you're food shopping, the best thing and the easiest thing I can tell people to do is to stay on the outside perimeter of the grocery store. All the fresh foods and the fresh fruits and meats and frozen vegetables and dairy products are on the outside. Usually all the processed things are on the inside of the store, like the chips and the cookies and candy. So just try to stay on the outside perimeter. Be sure to really limit your soda, because soda is, you know, one of the huge determining factors of weight gain and even diet. And try to incorporate more water, and all Americans need to eat more vegetables. So if you can incorporate at least a serving of vegetables, it's all about baby steps. You're not just going to start out, you know, changing everything that we have implanted in our lives and that we've taken part of, you know, our whole existence. It all takes steps. It's a process.
And so how do you incorporate fitness or activities into your day?
I try to definitely exercise a minimum, you know, of 3 times a week. But it's times that the kids have homework after I get through with the class, or it's time that we have things going on at the church that I want to be a part of. So I do small things. I'll try to take a 15-minute walk at work. I also try to, if I have to go grocery shopping, I park on the other end of the parking lot and walk my grocery all the way down and come back. Just small ways to make sure that I'm staying physically active. Instead of taking the elevator, I'll take the stairs. Just small things like that that will keep me active throughout the day. So I know it's times that I can't get into a gym, but I also can't be stagnant, and I definitely don't want to go back to where I was.
So now you mentioned the big thing, soda there. What are some alternatives to soda? Because so many people just have to have that soda.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to break that cycle, but it's definitely necessary. People don't want to hear it, but water is one of the best alternatives to soda. Also, the smaller Crystal Light. Some people in the fitness industry say, that's a chemical for a chemical, but I was a soda drinker, and I needed that because I couldn't just go to water after drinking, 5 and 6 sodas a day, and you just want me to drink water. So I used to use the flavor sugar-free flavored drinks. I used to also put fruit in my water, different things just to kind of change it up. And I've been on this journey for 4 years, and in 2014 is when I just went to total water. So for 3 years, I drank those things to slowly but surely change over to this newer lifestyle. Again, it's all a process.
It's a process. You can't just cold turkey.
You can, but usually you end up reverting back to your old ways because it's so tough.
So now, I know you're very passionate about being a motivational speaker and inspiring others. What kind of advice can you give someone who's listening or watching and they are obese, maybe morbidly obese, and have never been active and just don't know how to get it started? They want to be healthy, but they just don't know where to go.
Well, if they're in the area, I will be glad to help and mentor them in any way. All the classes at the Florida Department of Health are free.
Okay.
We are going to be starting classes starting in January on every single part of the county. If there's anything that I can do, I can give my number directly. It's 850-872-4455, and I'm at extension 1203. But the first thing they need to do is really, really make up in their mind and prepare themselves mentally to make this change. And when they make the change, to make it for life. Don't use the word diet. This is a new lifestyle. This is how you live today. So you can't make it just a diet to say that you're just going to stop, because what's going to happen when you lose the weight and then you stop is all going to come back. So it has to be something that you're ready to do to make a full commitment to yourself.
And let's talk a little bit more about your work at the Florida Department of Health here in Bay County. You mentioned the classes. So what exactly is your role there?
I am a facilitator for the Diabetes Prevention Program, and I'm basically your lifestyle coach throughout the 16 weeks. So you contact me directly if you have any questions. Throughout the 16 weeks, the first 8 weeks is all about food and nutrition. Those are things that I didn't know. So many things about food that I didn't know. I didn't know the difference between a non-starchy vegetable and a starchy vegetable. I didn't know that rice was also a carbohydrate. I mean, it's things that I truly didn't know. And then after the 8th week, it's all about the mental part of changing your lifestyle, because it's about the slippery slopes of a lifestyle change. Again, I can't stop saying it's a process. It's not something that we're automatically just going to get, or the people who do automatically get it, sometimes they'll turn around and revert. But this class teaches them not to beat yourself up, to learn how to adapt to this new way of living, and to find alternatives instead of just going cold turkey and just, totally making yourself unsocial around your friends, because unfortunately, food is something that we need to live. It's different to being addicted to food than it is to being addicted to drugs or alcohol or cigarettes. You can move those things out of your way, but we're always faced with food choices. And being a recovering food addict and a sugar addict, I still have problems. I still have issues. So if they need someone to talk about, or they have things that they, have questions about, I'm always here, because I'm still on the journey. And I know when I tell them that I know how they feel, I can stand flat-footed and tell them, I know how you feel. It's still very fresh on my mind.
And so you mentioned that mental aspect, and I think it's so important that, if you fall off the wagon, so to speak, don't give up.
Right. Don't give up. Always jump right back on it. I hear so many people say, because I don't really have a cheat day or a cheat week or whatever. Well, I always say, and it's very graphic, I say you don't give a person who's recovering from drugs a weekend to go to a crack house and eat all they want. It's the same way with me. If I continue to eat these foods that I'm craving, then I'm going to keep eating them. So I have to try to find a happy medium, and I have to find out a way, anything that I can do to get those behaviors out of my head. You have to be able to identify with the reasons of why you're overeating. It can be a mental thing. It might not just be because you're hungry. 99% of Americans don't actually get hungry. We just want to eat again. So are you thirsty? Are you upset? Are you busy? What is the reason that you're looking for food? And then you try to change that for another activity instead.
So you were talking about part of the program at the health department is learning about food.
Right.
What are some of the big things that people find surprising in that class when they're learning about food?
Week 4 is a really good part. It's about portion control, and that's something that we all struggle with. And to see the real portion or the real serving size of what they have, the nutritional fats on the outside, is very mind-blowing to see, how much actual serving is. And also weighing and measuring is also a part of the class, and learning how to eat when you go out. Different foods that you can choose that are better than other foods that you can choose. So it's so many things that are wrapped up within that 16 weeks. And when people hear 16 weeks, they say, man, that's a long time. But we're trying to change a behavior that you have adapted for the last, over 20 years. So being able to teach that after the 16 weeks, we still meet every month. The entire program ends up being right at a year. It's an amazing program, and it's definitely needed for someone who doesn't have that education in nutrition.
So, Natasha, what are some of the things that you find most surprising about this journey that has led you into the national spotlight? What do you find surprising?
I was very surprised, actually, with the shunning that I got from the people from the plus size industry, basically calling me a sellout, saying that, you're not proud of your body. But that's the thing. That's the reason why I took control, because I am proud of my body. I am very conscious about the things that I eat because I love myself. I exercise every day because I know it's what I need to do to be healthy and to continue to lose weight. So when I got the shunning and people, actually ousting me out in my social group, that really hurt my feelings, but I know that it also opened doors for so many things that are so much better for me. So if they don't want to see me be healthy and they don't want to see me be happy, they're really not my friends.
So, and again, you were in the pageant and modeling, the plus size industry for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And I still am. I still have a plus size pageant in Roswell, Georgia, the American Beauties Plus pageant system. And that pageant system is for women who are 14 and over who all have beautiful platforms, whether it's American Heart Association or diabetes, whatever their platform is, whatever they believe in, that's what they come and speak again. That's what they come and speak on, and they're not judged by their physical appearance, even though they're all very beautiful, very articulate women. But this pageant is made for women who are 14 and up, size 14 and up.
And I think that's so important that you mentioned, being healthy, because a lot of people who are larger say, this is me and I'm healthy, and, live with it, be proud of it. So tell me, your thoughts on that.
Well, a lot of it is people are so stuck in their ways that they don't want to change. They know they're not healthy. I mean, I was considered to be, I spoke on the behalf of a full-figured woman. I was an activist for women who were heavier and that might be discriminated against because of their weight. But even after losing over 200 pounds, by no means am I thin, but I know that I'm healthy. So when I hear people say, well, I'm fine the way I am, or I don't want to be that skinny girl, it doesn't matter about being that skinny girl. You need to be in the best shape for your shape. The best physical appearance and the best mental appearance and the best just being healthy overall. I'm all about total health. It's not always about weight. It's about having good lab results. It's about having, a good mental state and being happy in your job. That's all the things that really affect your health. So when I hear people say, well, it doesn't matter to me, I just feel like it's not that they don't care, but they're just not willing to be uncomfortable. They just want to stay in their comfort zone.
So are there more goals health-wise that you have right now?
Yes. After losing the weight, I still have a lot of loose skin that I have going on. I know that I did see a plastic surgeon, and it's about 23 pounds of skin that I still have to have removed. I would like to be under 200 pounds. Currently, I'm 208 pounds, and I haven't been this weight since I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
So this has been a lifelong journey for me. I'm not new to, after having babies, gaining weight, I've always been considered the big girl. I mean, it's something that I'm used to and I've adapted to it. But I think after I get down under the 200 pounds, that's kind of what I'm going towards. Then I think physically I'll be done. But as long as I'm continuing mentoring people and helping them and inspiring them, I'm happy.
So you mentioned that in the pageant world that you were shunned. Now, what kind of response has your close family and friends have? You know, how do they treat you now that you're different?
Well, they all are very excited for me, and I have some of my friends that haven't seen me in a while, and they just look at me because they have never seen me at this size before. But all in all, I've always gotten lots of support. Throughout being recognized nationally, I have gotten several followers on social media that have always, contacted me and told me that they're proud of me and they're not ready to make a change yet, but every time they see my post and they see me still being positive, they know that there's hope for them to be able to lose the weight as well. So sometimes you can get more response and more support from people who don't know you directly because they give you the option to show change, where sometimes friends and family don't let you change because unfortunately since 2007 I've always spoke on behalf of the full-figured woman, and it kind of looks like I'm contradicting myself, but I know that today that health is my main priority.
So, before we wrap this edition of RAPLINE up, what are some final thoughts that you want our listeners and viewers to go away with today?
Well, I just want people to know and to understand that no matter how uncomfortable a new lifestyle can be, that you're still worth it. I hear so many people women especially, that pay so much money for their makeup and getting their hair done. They can only wear certain kind of shoes, but then they'll go to a dollar menu and pull up and just order something off of a dollar menu. And that's always blown my mind. So be just as strict with taking care of your body on the inside as you are on the outside. And also, again, for the people who are morbidly obese or just who feel like it's just too far gone, that it's never too late to start over, no matter what your age is. I have people in my classes, the oldest lady I have is 72 years old, and she's down so far 17 pounds. She's doing wonderful. And she lost her husband at 54 years. So even after seeing her husband die of bad health, she still wanted to make the change at 71 years old, and she's doing excellent.
And that's incredible. And as you mentioned, the classes at the Florida Department of Health in Bay County are free.
Everything is free. We have a class over at Gulf Beach Baptist Church on Mondays at the beach, Tuesday at the Florida Department of Health, Wednesday at Impact Fitness over in Parker, and then HealthPlex over in Lynn Haven. And if anyone has any questions about times, locations, or dates, they can feel free again to call me at 850-872-4455, extension 1203.
Well, Natasha, thanks so much for coming on RAPLINE.
You're welcome.
And encouraging words to our listeners and viewers.
Absolutely.
And hope you'll come back and give us an update on what's going on.
I would love to. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And that is a wrap for this edition of RAPLINE. Again, thanks to my guest, Natasha Coleman. RAPLINE, of course, a service of Gulf Coast State College and GC 90.7. Remember, if you're thinking of adding a pet to your family, consider the adoption option. And we just saw Charlie. He is our pet of the week, and you can find him at the Bay County Animal Shelter. I'm Emily Blaze. Thanks for listening and watching, and have a great day.